So anyway, I lost faith. What's good? I'm Lonnie Appleton. I'm a healthy family advocate. I am a healing journey coach, and I'm here telling my story in 50 parts. Y'all gonna share this around like you did that Cheetah Keeta. I don't know her name, but it sounds like I think it rhymed. Anyway, so you can find about me at LonnieLifestyle.com. So I had given up and I had lost faith and I stopped believing in God because I was like, God, and it's so funny. It's crazy how quickly in the past I would lose faith. Um, I have been on this faith walk since 2022 intentionally, of course, my entire life. But this intentional faith walk, I've been on it since 2022. So here we are in 2025, February, and I'm still believing God for some big things. God is moving me in the direction of those big things. But in the past, I would be on a faith walk, until the money ran out. There ain't even been no money in this machine. We're starting to get some money to fund this machine. I had to tell myself because I was like, well, yeah, I have a podcast, pen and paper, period. Yeah, I have a podcast, but I pay for the podcast. And then God had to remind me today, he's just like, don't you know everybody pays for their first podcast? Everybody pays for their first film crew. Someone who believes in themselves has to fund themselves first until the rest of the world sees, and then they become a shiny object enough that somebody else will fund them. But with me, I don't want to become a shiny object because I don't want Satan's money. I'm waiting until the kingdom wakes up to me. When the kingdom wakes up to me, now we can start doing God's work as a partnership. It's the fact that some people are in the kingdom, but they see me and they see how I move, and they're just like, oh, she's not like the rest of us. So you block me out of the kingdom, but you have to understand that the kingdom, if I'm largely blocked from the kingdom, that the kingdom is full of a bunch of people who are judgmental. Oh no, I'm just protecting myself because then you use scripture to support you being judgmental. Understand, I believe in Jesus too. Understand, I believe in God too. It's just that my pathway to Jesus and God is not your pathway. I was not born into it. I was not forced into it. I was not. I was indoctrinated into it, but I walked away from it. And most of us who walk away from it go into spirituality, and spirituality is full of modalities. And all those modalities, if you do not take God and Jesus with you, now you are walking and playing with the devil and Satan. And I played with the devil and I played with Satan. I tried, all these different ways because I knew God was real. I knew relationship was real. I just didn't know how to access it. And now I know how to access it. I know how to pray. I'm learning how to pray, but I know how to pray. I know who died for my sins. And I know who I walk these streets daily and I uplift. But when I mention that, I've been into the pits of hells, some of y'all will already turn your ears off because you don't want to hear my story. Because my story don't look like your story. You don't want to hear my story because my platform ain't big enough. Oh, because you're banking your platform views on the views that I could bring, but understand, bring me on your show. My platform wasn't meant to be huge. My platform is meant to just be big enough to get your attention. If I've gotten your attention, ask God why I have your attention. So, I gave up on God, and in 2022, I set up out of my sleep and I said, I'm going to change my life. So, like 32 to 42, 10 years, it was a 10-year time span that I stopped believing and stopped having faith because for 6 months I tried and couldn't make anything happen. So I went back and I was just like, I'll just settle and be regular. And when I settled and be regular and I started having a regular life, I started living a regular life. But the thing about the chosen one and the people who have business to handle in this earth, they can never settle. Your life is always going to be just, you can never, build a foundation because God needs you to do work, and you can't do work if you're comfortable. So you will never be comfortable until you're doing God's work. Understand, my life is uncomfortable as fuck. My husband is like, what the fuck? Why is she over there chilling? But understand, I'm Daniel in the lion's den. So even though my life is all over the place, I'm chilling. So I have peace in the storm. And that's when you know you're doing God's work. You're finally on mission. If you still are in the storm and you're in the storm, then you're not on God's mission. You're maybe getting close. I don't know what work you're doing. Definitely book a coaching session so we could get that sorted out for you. But if you look like what you're going through, You got some work to do.